In this week's Students Around the World, Min Young Kim interviews an American university student, Lisa Conroy. They talk about living on a student budget.
Thanks for talking with me today, Lisa. Tell us a little about yourself.
Well, I'm 21 and I'm a junior at a university in Chicago.
How are you paying for your college education?
My expenses for every semester are almost $15,000. At the start of each semester, I get $2,000 from my college scholarship. My parents pay the rest of the $10,000 tuition, and they give me $2,000 for personal expenses. I have to pay the remaining $3,000 myself.
How do you do that?
I have a part-time job as a waitress. I work 3 nights a week, and I usually earn about $400 a week. In a good week, I can make $600, but in a bad week, it can be less than $300.
How do you spend that money?
It helps to pay for my rent and meals at college. It also pays for things like my cell phone, books, transportation, and clothes.
You don't have much money for fun, do you?
That's true. My mother advised me to stick to my budget carefully so I don't have to borrow. I don't like to owe money. And I don't want to pay the bank any interest. I hardly ever go to the movies. My roommates and I usually rent movies and split the cost. And I don't go to restaurants very often. My roommates and I usually cook our own food, so it's cheaper to eat.
How else do you save money?
I try to walk or ride my bicycle to college. Oh, and I buy a lot of my clothes at secondhand stores. You can find some very cheap, nice clothes in those stores. I also try to borrow books and magazines from the library, rather than buying them on my own. My roommates and I are also very careful to save water and electricity, so we don't have to pay a lot for those things. Dear Sunday Globe, I am writing to you about your article in last Sunday's newspaper, Cell Phones Make Life Easier. You did an excellent job explaining the good points of cell phones. They're convenient, we feel safer always being able to call someone, and they are very helpful in business. On the other hand, you didn't talk about their bad points at all. I hope you'll let me give your readers some advice on cell phone etiquette. The first point I'd like to address is when not to use your phone. It's polite to switch off your phone or turn off the sound when you're in class or in a meeting. If you get an important call, you should ask for permission to leave the room, and then don't talk for too long. Furthermore, for conversations that need more time, it is best to ask the person to call back at a more convenient time. Cell phones can also cause you to neglect the people you are with. I find it really annoying when my friends constantly check their messages on their phone. In fact, I want to tell them to turn off the cell phone and enjoy my company. Another point that needs to be made has to do with personal space. I think it is very impolite to make calls in small spaces or crowded rooms. This makes others uncomfortable and forces them to listen to your personal conversations. Additionally, it disturbs other face-to-face conversations. That's why I never use my cell phone within a few meters of other people, except in emergencies. Lastly, I would like readers to pay attention to the dangers of using your phone while doing something else. For instance, driving and texting is a bad combination. Likewise, using your phone or texting when walking can make you careless. You don't want to get hit by a car. Pay attention to where you're going. Sincerely, Amber Jala.
Traveling soon? Smartphone apps make traveling easier than ever. Unfortunately, with thousands of new travel-related apps to choose from each month, It can take a long time to figure out which applications are truly helpful. Here are 3 apps that will definitely make your next trip abroad a little easier. Talk to me. Say au revoir to language phrase books after downloading the Talk to Me smartphone app. This is a great tool for anyone visiting a foreign country. It works like a translator in your pocket. When you speak into the phone in English, it translates what you are saying into the language you select. You can choose between English, Chinese, French, Spanish, German, and Italian. This app is useful for the everyday needs of tourists and business travelers. It's also great for frequent travelers and language learners. TripIt. Are you always looking for your travel information when it's time to check in for your flight? TripIt combines all of your travel confirmation documents, such as hotel room bookings, into one travel itinerary. Users send their travel-related emails to TripIt, and the app turns it into an easy-to-use itinerary with a calendar. TripIt also prepares maps and weather information for the places on your itinerary. CitySeeker. Imagine being able to find whatever you need no matter where you are. A map easily becomes outdated, and a guidebook typically helps you only in places the average tourist goes. What you need on your trip is an app that will tell you where the locals go. Want to find a great sushi place in Singapore? Morning coffee in Barcelona? A tailor in Mexico City? The CitySeeker app helps you find these places. It uses information created by Singaporeans, Spanish, Mexicans, and people from other popular tourist cities to give advice on restaurants, gas stations, shops, landmarks, and more.
Every 4 years, the Summer Olympic Games kick off with an elaborate opening ceremony that welcomes athletes from every competing nation. However, preparations and celebrations for the Olympic Games start long before the opening ceremony. The true beginning of the Olympic celebration is the lighting of the Olympic torch and the relay that carries the flame to the host city. The Olympic torch is lit at a ceremony in Olympia, Greece, where the ancient games were held. One requirement for the Olympic flame is that it must be created using only sunlight and a mirror. The flame is lit months before the games, and the first runner begins the great relay among the ruins of an ancient Olympic stadium. The first modern Olympic torch relay took place in Berlin in the summer of 1936. At the beginning, runners were mainly selected from the Olympic athletes, but later, regular citizens, including children, old people, and people with disabilities, began to participate as well. Carrying the torch is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity and a great honor. Traditionally, the torch is carried on foot. However, sometimes other kinds of transport are needed. When the torch must go overseas, it is sent on a private plane. The torch has also been carried underwater. For the Sydney Summer Games in 2000, a diver swam with the torch. At the end of the relay, the flame is used to light a giant pot. The light, a symbol of the Olympic spirit, burns throughout the Games.
For many people, the Olympic Games consist of popular sports like swimming, running, or ice skating. Here are 3 unusual Olympic events and 3 athletes who fell in love with them.
Curling. Curling is a sport that is played on ice. 2 teams of 4 players each slide 8 stones along the ice to a colored circle called the house. The object of the game is to place a stone closest to the center of the house. I started curling very young, Canadian Olympic curler Sammy McCann told us, "My father managed a hotel with an ice rink. As soon as the people left the ice, my friends and I would get right on and start curling."
Trampoline. Kids have been jumping on trampolines for almost 100 years. But it was only at the 2000 Olympic Games in Sydney that trampoline became an official Olympic sport. In Olympic competitions, each trampoline gymnast is judged on 10 different skills. A gymnast can score well by showing that they can control their bodies while jumping high and twisting and flipping smoothly in the air. "I love the sport. I've been doing it since I was 5 years old," said Jennifer Perilla, American trampoline gymnast. After Jennifer competed in the 2000 Olympics as the only American trampoline gymnast, she got a tattoo of a butterfly to remind her of her new beginnings as an Olympian.
Skeleton. The sport of skeleton racing first became an Olympic sport in 1928. Skeleton racers slide down an icy course at very high speed on a simple sled. The sled is called a skeleton because early sleds looked like human skeletons. "I didn't start skeleton until I was 30, said American skeleton racer Zach Gale. "While driving, my girlfriend and I took a wrong turn at Lake Placid, New York. That's where the 1980 Winter Olympics took place. They were offering skeleton classes that afternoon. My girlfriend said, 'Why don't we give it a try?' It was fun. I fell in love with it.